Sorry, just trying to get the angles right here. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. I want you to be able to see my feet. See my feet when I'm sitting, when I'm standing. Not so great. So, tiny bit up. Sitting. Still up. Maybe there now. Well, still you can't really see my head, can you, when I'm standing? That's not great. Sorry, usually I set up the camera with a different app. That should be good. Okay. I'm going to start our timer. We're going to start in 1 minute here, 9 o'clock. So if there's anything you need to grab right now, you can do that. You should have some water, nice straight back chair, lots of room around you. Be able to stand and reach out to the side, kick out side to side as well. Make sure you have all that room. All right. Okay, we are going to start. It's 9 o'clock. Welcome everybody to the Cowichan Brain Injury Society Morning Wake Up Program. Cowichan Brain Injury Society is a nonprofit out of the Cowichan Valley, serving folks who have had brain injury as well as their loved ones and supports. We offer social programs, education, some rehabilitation, and more. I'm Billy. I'm the registered kinesiologist at Cowichan Brain Injury Society, and I run this morning wake up program on YouTube. We cover the 6 pillars of brain health, and some of the activities we do covers 3 of those 6. So we do movement, 10 minutes of movement, which is one of the pillars of brain health. 10 minutes of learning, so stimulating your mind and challenging your mind is one of the pillars of brain health. And 3, we do 10 minutes of mindfulness, which is stress reduction or managing stress is one of the pillars of brain health as well. So using mindfulness helps us to manage our stress. All right, we're going to get started. As per usual, we're going to start with some movement. Just a reminder, ideally you're on a straight back chair that is nice and firm and stable. You have area that is clear of obstacles or anything. I don't want you kicking or smashing anything with your hands, so you should have full kind of range of motion here. Having some water. We're going to try to get our heart rate up. And just a reminder that Cowichan Brain Injury is not liable for any risks or injuries. It's up to you to take care of yourself. And that also means connecting with your body. If you need to take a rest or if there's a movement that's uncomfortable, trying to modify that. If you have any questions, you can always comment below or come talk to me because I always like to give modifications or different exercises. Okay, I have music going, so I'm going to put my music on. If you have a stereo or something to put a song on to help you move, that would be great. So we're going to get started here in 5 seconds. Okay, you can wiggle out your arms to start. Okay, we're going to reach one arm across to the opposite shoulder. You can go at a pace that feels good to you. Reaching across your body. We do about each exercise for 30 seconds. I like you sitting at the edge of the chair so that you're kind of responsible for an upright posture, which will engage your abdominal muscles. Great. Okay. The next movement is we're going to reach one arm in front, the other arm in front. Just up to shoulder height here. We're not going way overhead. We're just going, you can have your palms up or down, whatever feels right for you. Okay. We're going to try to make this movement a little bit harder. We're going to switch to a different movement and then combine them. Now I want you to go side to side here. Opposite arm, side to side. Now we're going to combine these movements in a second. So one arm is going to go to the front, one to the side. Yes? Then switch. Good. This is getting a bit of a cross hemisphere challenge. You're doing different movements, different sides of your body. So this could be challenging. Nice work. Keep it up. If it's too challenging, you can always go back to one movement, but also don't worry about it. This is fun and silly. Just keep it up. Okay, we're going to do another 10 seconds of this one. All right, almost there. Good. Now we're going to wrap one arm around our head, a release. Other side. Awesome. Kind of like a voguing you could do. Oh yeah, make it more complicated. Couple more seconds here. I'll do those a bit more complicated movement here. We're reaching. Awesome. Let's roll our shoulders back. Exaggerate the roll. Get your arms really into it. Good. Oh, I feel some crickly crackling. It's probably good. My body needs it, right? Getting those joints lubricated. Good. We're going to go the other way in 5 seconds here. Okay, other way. You can think about swimming here. What is that, the butterfly or something? Nice work. I feel it in my arms a little bit. I'm working them. Good job. About 10 more seconds. We're trying to have continuous movement for 10 minutes to get that aerobic exercise. We're going to lift one leg, keeping our posture nice and upright, doing a marching, bringing that knee as high as you can. We're doing alternating right now. We're going to try and do them together in a second. It's going to be much more challenging for our abdominal muscles. So you can keep doing this. If this feels challenging enough, notice your heart rate getting up. But if you want to make it more challenging, we're going to lean back, kind of bracing ourselves on our chair, and we're going to lift both legs. Awesome. Good. We're going to do that for 30 seconds. Trying to keep our posture and core nice and engaged here. Not an easy exercise. Good. A few more seconds. Nice work. Keeping yourself at the edge of the chair. We're going to extend our legs out. You can't quite see my legs, but I'm on my heels with my toes up, and then I'm bringing one leg as far back as I can. The other leg. We're trying to get the back of our legs working here. Our hamstrings. Nice job. Good. A couple more seconds. Okay, we've done 5 minutes of sitting. I'm going to start standing now. You can stay sitting. Do whatever feels comfortable. Or you can stand at the back of your chair so that you have a bit more stability. So using that back of the chair to stabilize yourself. Let's go to the side. We're going to step to the side together. Step to the side together. Get a little bounce in there. Good work. Nice. You can add some arms. Out to the side. It's like a modified jumping jack. Good work. We're going to do this one for a little bit longer because we added in the arms. We also transition to standing. You'll be able to do this sitting, no problem. Good, we've got about 10 more seconds here. All right. We're going to do some transferring of our weight. Come in the center here, nice and stable, feet about hip width apart. You're going to reach one arm up over your head, kind of doing a side bend stretch here. You're shifting your weight from one side to the other. You can still get the shifting of weight from buttocks to buttocks while sitting. You could also, if you're sitting, you could add a leg in to make it more challenging. So you could lift, lift, lift. This would make it more challenging while sitting or standing. You're really challenging your balance. Great. Good work. Okay, we're going to go into an even wider stance here, and we're shifting our weight across our body here. Nice. It's one of my favorite moves. You get a bit of a twist. Feels like your whole body gets a bit of opening happening. Good. Reaching across. You can think about grabbing and pulling something towards yourself. Nice work. You can get a similar rotation while sitting. Okay, we're going to keep that cross body movement, but we're going to go down now. Down, up, down. Crossing opposite hand to opposite ankle or shin. If this up and down movement makes you nauseous, just making it smaller. Making it smaller is fine. If you feel comfortable going down and up, keeping your posture nice and strong, thinking about hinging at your hips when you're doing this movement. Do 10 more seconds. Good work. Nice. Okay, this next one, we're lifting our arms overhead, rotating our body to one side, bringing our arms down. Lifting, rotating. See if you can figure that one out. Up, rotate, down, center. Up, rotate, center. Almost done. Maybe a tricky one. Okay, last 30 seconds. Let's do some mini squats. If you're sitting, you can try to do a sit to stand, even just putting pressure into your legs with a little lift is good. But if you're standing, trying to do some squats for the next 30 seconds. Keeping your knees over your toes, nice and in line, chest open and upright, only going as far as you can maintain that posture. If you start bending over, you've gone too far. Keeping yourself upright. We're going to do another 10 seconds here. Good work. Good work. I think I was wrong. We have another 30 and I got one more exercise for us. Okay. In a staggered stance, having one foot in front, you can go up onto your toes and then lifting your toe just on the front leg, you're lifting your toe. So you can go up, lifting your heels, lifting that toe. If you're sitting, you can just do heel raises. Heel raises. Switch sides. This is great for ankle mobility as well as some gait training. We're just going to do about 5 more seconds here. We're a little bit over for our movement. I don't think that's a bad thing. Good. Okay, can take a seat if you've been standing. Pause your music. Awesome. Take a sip of water. Hopefully you got your heart rate up a little bit there. We're going to continue our conversation about exercise. I'm going to try to simplify it. I get a little excited. So Hopefully more clear and concise today. Just to review, anaerobic exercise does not use oxygen to produce energy for our muscles to move, where aerobic exercises uses oxygen to produce energy for our muscles to move. Anaerobic exercise is often strength training or big, powerful movements. So there's a couple different categories, which I'm going to briefly go through, which is, so you have like endurance strength training. So that's when you're using weights, but you're using a low weight and you're doing a lot of repetitions. So 15 plus, if you're doing 20 bicep curls, you're doing strength training, but an endurance strength training, if that makes sense. So your muscles can move for longer with some weight. Excuse me. You have more explosive movements, which you might have heard of plyometrics. These are like box jumps. So if you have a big box and people are jumping on there, or kind of like sprinting, or big explosive kind of movements, you're trying to get power. So you're using speed and strength to get that. That's a type of anaerobic exercise that you might do. There's also body weight strength training. This is where I like people to start. This is called calisthenics. This is when we're doing squats with our body weight, working on push-ups, pull-ups, and chin-ups. There's not much equipment, and you're just using your own body to do the movements. This is a great place to start when you're first getting into the movements. It also can help you be intentional and think about the muscle group. So even doing a bicep curl that is not with any weight, most people can do it with a little bit of weight, but thinking about these muscles shortening can help you bring intention to those movements. The next is kind of your powerlifting or your classic strength training, which helps with hypertrophy, which is muscle growth. So when you want to get those biceps nice and big, you'd be working in this range. And that is usually when you're doing a higher weight, but lower reps. So you might only be doing 6 bicep curls, but with more weight than you're used to, or not used to, but more weight than if you're doing endurance. So I can do 20 bicep curls with 10, 15 pounds, but if you give me 20 pounds, I might only be able to do 8. So that would be more in that strength hypertrophy zone. And it's recommended that you do strength training of some sort about 2 times a week. The other thing I want to share today is the FIT principle. So we talked about the different adaptations that aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise can do. That was some of those changes in the brain, changes in our physiology. Now, for you to have those changes, you can't be doing something that is so easy, you don't feel challenged. You have to push yourself a bit. So some principles to think about pushing yourself is, it's called the FIT principle. So you have frequency, intensity, time, and type. So frequency means how often are you doing this exercise? So if you're new to strength training, you might only do it once a week, but then you're going to do the same routine twice a week. That is pushing yourself by increasing the frequency. Intensity for strength training, I should talk about both of them. So frequency for aerobic exercise, so that cardiovascular exercise would also be, maybe you're going for a run once a week or a walk once a week. Now you're going to do it 2-3 times a week. That is increasing the frequency. Intensity. So intensity is for the anaerobic exercise, for strength training, would be increasing the weight. So if I'm doing 15 pounds of bicep curls and I switch to 20 pounds, that's increasing the intensity. For aerobic exercise, increasing that intensity might be sprinting for some of those runs that you're doing, or a portion of it. Or for if you're walking, you are speeding up the pace, or maybe you're running for 1 minute out of your 10-minute walk. Whatever that is, that's bringing your heart rate up further. So with aerobic exercise, it's always going to be about bringing your heart rate up in those target zones, bringing it up further. That's increasing the intensity. Good for you. You do need, we'll talk about things to be aware of next week with exercise, because increasing your heart rate too much, especially if you're on certain medication or have chronic health conditions, can be a bit tricky or isn't advised. Talk more about that next week. Okay, so frequency, intensity. Next one is time. So increasing your time. So for aerobic exercise, this is pretty easy. We're doing 10 minutes of exercise to start our mornings off here in our morning wake up program. If you do 15 minutes, you've increased the time, right? If I'm going for a 30-minute run twice a week, next week, maybe I'm going to do a 33-minute run, and that's slowly increasing the time, which will help me see more adaptations. For anaerobic exercise, so it's strength training, that might be you're doing an extra set. That could be it. So if I'm doing 3 sets of 8, maybe I'm doing 4 sets of 8. It also could mean time under tension. So that's actually how quickly I'm doing an exercise. So I'm going to take we're going to use this later. This is my weight, my big, massive weight, banana weight. And if I'm just doing my bicep curls like this, boom, 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 the amount of tension or time that my muscles are under tension is minimal. Where if I slow that movement down, curl up, and then slowly bring down, I have now put that muscle under tension for a much longer time. So that's one way you manipulate that principle for strength training. The fourth piece of that is type. So this is really about the muscles you use are the muscles that will adapt. That's a little bit different when it comes to the adaptations of your brain. But if I'm trying to get those massive biceps I was talking about, I have to strengthen my biceps. So doing bicep curls or anything that does flexion of my elbow, we won't get into all that, but flexion of my elbow will make that muscle grow. If I do this, that's not going to make my biceps grow. So you have to actually target the specific muscles you want. And that's also the type of exercise of being like the power or the calisthenics or the endurance. So depending on what adaptations you want, the type of exercise you're doing is important. That is pretty much all I'm going to cover today for exercise. The main piece is that fit principle to have adaptations: frequency, intensity, time, and type. I hope that's helpful. So start thinking about your exercise in that way. And a reminder, so anaerobic, so that's strength training. The aim is to get 2 sessions a week. And it only needs to be, 20 minutes or something, 10 minutes even, depending on where you're starting. Aerobic exercise, they say you're aiming for 150 minutes a week. Now your anaerobic and aerobic can kind of be combined together, especially when you're new to exercise. Your heart rate will increase with doing strength training. So you are kind of hitting that as well a little bit. And also remember rest days. You should never be exercising every day of the week. Our body needs recovery time for those adaptations. So if you're making yourself an exercise routine, putting in when you're resting and you're not doing exercise is important. Okay, that's our 10 minutes of learning. I hope I didn't talk too much. We're going to move on to our mindfulness. So before we get started, we are going to work on that exteroception. So focusing on an external thing for our mindfulness today. So before we get started, I want you to try to locate something that you're going to focus on externally. I'm going to use this beautiful little banana, my banana weight. You could grab a plant that you're going to focus on. You could literally, it might be a material, or if you have some funky socks to wear, you might literally be focusing on your socks. This could be, it could be anything. It could be a container. Maybe not as exciting. I would, if you could find a piece of fruit, vegetable, maybe something organic, a plant to focus on, I would do that. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds here to try to locate something, hopefully not too far away from you. If it isn't organic, don't worry about it. Your agenda, if it's lying in front of you, is fine. So I'll just give you a couple seconds to work to find that. Okay, I hope you've been able to find something that seems interesting enough to you to focus on. If you can, place it in front of you somewhere or hold it in your hand. I'm just going to hold my banana in my hand here. And we are really focusing on this external item. So you're going to have your eyes open. You're going to get yourself comfortable. Whenever we're doing mindfulness, finding a comfortable position. Probably, you don't need to do what I'm doing, but this is comfortable for me. Leaning back in your chair, and we're going to start with just noticing our breath. We're not going to close our eyes right now, but we're going to look at our item, but also still just noticing our breath. Trying to breathe in all the way down to your diaphragm, filling your lungs completely when you inhale, and exhaling, trying to get all of that carbon dioxide out. Always inhaling through your nose. The exhale can be through your mouth or your nose, but the inhale should always be through your nose. Now, right now, you're just kind of getting to know the item you have. You might find some associations coming up. When I look at this banana, and I think about breakfast. But what I really want to do is notice with my senses. So I'm going to start with noticing visually what I'm seeing. Notice the borders of the item, the colors, different shades in different areas. When you get distracted by thoughts, going back to that item. You might turn it around if it's in your hand. If it's placed on a table, you wouldn't be able to do this. Trying to outline the shape. Like if you were drawing it, how would you draw it? What is the outline? Notice where the light hits it, where there's shade or a darkness. If you are holding it, feel free to move it around, noticing how it changes, how the contours and the light changes. Now, if it's placed on a table in front of you, you're just going to be using your visual system to really refocus on that item. If you are holding it in your hand, I'm going to challenge you to use a different sense. So you can close your eyes here and notice how the item feels in your hand. Is it smooth? Is it rough? Again, noticing the contours or shape of it in between your fingers. Again, if you're just seeing it from placed on a table, you're just going to have to refocus on those colors, on the texture you see. But Another way you can tap into this exteroception is through a physical sensation. So using touch. Keep breathing. Refocusing on the item. All there is you and this item. Nothing else around you matters. Don't feel judgment if you have other thoughts that come up. Just letting them glide past and refocusing on whatever item you are focusing your attention on. If you are doing the physical sensations, notice the temperature of the item. If you have been focusing on this item visually, also holding it, I want you to actually put it down or close your eyes for a second. See if you can envision that item you were just staring at. Using it again as something to refocus on. Seeing if you can create it in your mind. Can you see those colors? Can you see the shape of it? Try and hold that in your mind. You're going to slowly come back to the space, to your body. Let that item go for now. So this is, I guess, a little extra tidbit of information is that some of us have a really hard time imagining things in our mind where others can do that really easily. And we might even like create a whole, my banana might be a dancing banana with a top hat kind of thing, very creative. Not saying you're not creative if you can't envision it. It's just actually not something everyone can do. So some of us, it's more like a blur or like, I think of it, sometimes I have it like, you know how you have a sparkler and you can like draw a shape with it? I can draw a banana, but then it's gone. But you can practice that skill. So using mindfulness first to have our actual item that you can focus on, but then you can practice envisioning it. Or next time you're looking at someone you care about, trying to really look at the details of their face. And then before bed, when you're closing your eyes, try and envision all those details. It can be a great practice to help us with our memory and just creating that skill of being able to imagine things in our mind. Anyways, I thought that was kind of a fun way to work on mindfulness today, is using some type of item. I hope you're finding some type of mindfulness skill that's working for you. If not, we'll keep exploring more. That's the end of our session. Just remember, keep that brain healthy from all of us at Cowichan Brain Injury Society. See you next week. Bye.